Yeah, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you thought the last video was long, this one's gonna be longer. I think the last one was 51 minutes, though. That's kind of crazy. But, anyways, man, we just wrapped up our final game of Madden 22. Ended up being a Super Bowl. Ended up being a victory, a pretty big one, 63 to 21 versus the Ravens, which is very unfortunate, man. I had to beat my favorite team twice in the Super Bowl. That really sucks. Um, but we ended up doing it undefeated this year, man. 20-0. This is last season's Super Bowl. We won 42 to 36, bringing the Bears their second Super Bowl championship, bringing Mahomes his second MVP and his second Super Bowl MVP. Because the league hasn't advanced yet, we don't know all the stuff for 2027, but we know we won the Super Bowl. Oh, there's the Super Bowl MVP, Enrique Alonso. I said it was going to be him. I want to say he had 9 tackles, 3 interceptions, one went for 6. So, and he had 2 pass deflections. So, big play guy, man. Enrique Alonso, Super Bowl MVP. That's good to know. At least we do know that. I mean, it should have all the other stuff in there as well, but it is what it is. We showed you the rest of the awards and everything in the last video. This one is just going to be a farewell to the league. I'll shout out a couple players, man, that we played against, had some battles with, split games with. You know what I mean? There's a few in here. There's one that's not here anymore. Well, actually, 2. There's 2 guys in this league in SNFL, the Steel, whatever they call this shit. Um, but we definitely wanted to get another crack at the former Vikings user, which was Buford Bartholomew or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But anywho, is a user that I believe we played 3 games. Yeah, we played 3 games. Fair simmed a couple because of schedule conflicts. But he was a really good user in this league, really good user in the game, and he made quite a few plays on offense. And I was just like, dog, it's gonna be tough to beat this guy. You know what I mean? We had one battle where I was up 10 with possession in the third quarter, and the game ended up lagging out. So I ended up getting a dub there, but I can't really call that a win because just being up 10 in Madden 22 was not considered a dub. Definitely would have loved to see that game play out. And the other games, we lost by 1 or 2 possessions. I know one we lost on the final play. Like, it was a 75-yard touchdown. And, like, I really gave that up. But, yeah, man, what we're really here for, bro, is to take a look at the roster, see the roster that we built. Now, this league does have regression off. So if you have a player that has abilities, they're never going to go down. They're only going to go up. But they also have dev scenarios, like in season dev scenarios, have those off. So the only way you can gain dev is to get it for end of season awards and stuff like that. So it's kind of like making it like Madden's past, which I really don't like. But it is what it is. I noticed that stuff way late, well after I was invested into this team and into the league. So he was like, you know what, bro? I told the commission that I was committed to going Madden to Madden. So from whatever time that I was in until the new Madden comes out is how long I will play in this league. And we held up to that, man. So shout out to Canty for actually running the league from Madden to Madden, man. Because Madden 22 is out for early release, guys, and it'll be out for everyone in 2 days. So real quick, man. If you didn't know, Patrick Mahomes does not come on the Bears by default. We ended up making a trade for him. We sent Justin Fields, a first-round pick, and 95 overall Roquan Smith to the Chiefs. Now, Fields was a superstar quarterback, and Roquan was an X-factor linebacker, plus that first-round pick. And it saved. The reason why this trade worked is because the Chiefs were able to save $30 million in cap by trading Mahomes, and this was at season 5 of the league. So I think it was 2020. Here, let me stop guessing. I actually just go to when I got Mahomes. Let's do that. So yeah, 2025. So let's see. The league starts here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th season, well, basically after the 4th season, in the off season, we made this trade, and the Chiefs were able to save $30 million in cap, along with getting Roquan Smith and Justin Fields. So they were plus 30 million in cap. So it made sense to make the trade because, you know, you got Fields, who was a dog at quarterback as well. He was a 96 overall when I traded him. He's already obviously a 99 at this point, but yeah, man. That's how we got Mahomes on the roster. Uh, David Andrews was a mid-season pickup for me, man. We had an injury on the O line, and I looked in free agency, and there was an 80 overall center just sitting there. And I'm like, okay, nobody wants him, so I'll take him. And he ended up getting 6 pancakes in his first game, so we kept him. And we just moved things around. We moved Daniels over to left guard, which we had a young guy at that position, Sean Ryan. Um, didn't play well at left tackle as a rookie. Came over and played left guard for us for the first half of the season. Got hurt, and that's how we got Andrews. So what we ended up doing, because Ryan got hurt, we ended up putting Andrews at left guard, and we left Daniels at his natural position at center. Um, but he got 6 pancakes, and I was like, you know what? I like that. He earned his spot. He's gonna stay on the team, but I didn't feel like he was good enough in the run game for pulling, because he's 66 speed, and he's not probably not the best puller for like trap runs and shit like that. So let me try James Daniels out at that spot, who's got much better run block stats. He's actually a little slower, but he's a little bit better at it, if you ask me, right? But yeah, that's the starting lineup. Brandon Brooks is here. When we first got in the league, we traded away everybody except Khalil Mack and Justin Fields. Everybody that we could trade, we traded for. We traded all of our picks. We got Brandon Brooks. We got Lane Johnson in a trade. We also had Zach Martin playing left tackle for us for quite a while until he retired on me. But yeah, man, that was our lineup for a while. We had Cody White here playing left guard, James Daniels at center, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, Zach Martin right here, and we couldn't win the Super Bowl. We couldn't win the Super Bowl with that O line, man. That O line and Justin Fields. The thing that really changed it was Mahomes, man. Just having that X factor quarterback with gunslinger just changed the game. And we were able to do some pretty amazing things. Before I get into anybody else on this team, bro, I have to shout out Mike Kirkpatrick, who we picked up as a free agent rookie. He was cut by his team. As you can see, he's an X Factor, 86 overall by default, 89 with the boost. And he is a pretty solid third option, man. Like, this is probably the best third option on anybody's roster. And that goes without saying, man. The reason I picked this guy up is he hits all the thresholds, bro. He was a 66 overall rookie. I want to say it was a 6th-round pick. Let me just double check real quick. As you can see his numbers right there. 4th-round pick, late 4th round. And as you can see his numbers, man, he's a very consistent Z receiver. Essentially, when I'm in 3-by-1, he's the outside guy running off coverage. When I'm in 2-by-2, he's the outside guy on the tight end side, basically on the backside. That's going to run those backside digs because my natural progression is going to be to the 3 receiver side of the field, and then I have a backside dig coming underneath, or basically underneath the coverage when I have everything moving to the left. So he played that role very, very well. He ran a ton of screens for me, got a couple blocks for me, some pancake blocks out there, man. Very consistent player until 2026 was our first Super Bowl year, when he got a couple couple games that he started and just balled out, man. Instead of him having that average of 40 catches, 700 yards, he got 72 catches, almost 1,000 and 15 tutties. It's pretty damn good, man. And then to turn out this season as well, 55 catches, almost 1,000 as well, only 4 touchdowns, but that's goes without saying that he's not needed in this offense as much as everyone else is. You know what I mean? He's an afterthought. He's option 4 on this team. You know what I mean? So, and that's how we built him up. I don't know how, because like I said, scenarios are turned off. Dev scenarios are turned off, but he got like the duo wide receiver kind of scenarios, and that's how he got to X Factor. Because once we saw that, I'm like, yo, I thought dev scenarios were turned off in this game, but we completed the challenges, and he ended up getting superstar X Factor dev. Because obviously, with those duo player things, you have to get less yards. Instead of it being 200 yards or 4 touchdowns to get X Factor, it was only 150 and 3 touchdowns, which is crazy. But I'll take it. I'll take it. We got Kirkpatrick up to an X Factor. His abilities are evasive and deep out elite, which we barely even used, but he's a 6 foot tall receiver. But he only has 82 jumping, so I never really trusted it. But yeah, but he also always goes up against the cornerback one, which people for whatever reason leave that cornerback one on the right side where nobody throws. I guess if you want to just shut down one side of the field, cool beans. But I mean, you should probably move your best DBs around to the best spots on the field, or just follow the best receiver. Anywho, um, he's just like I said, man, just been a very consistent piece of the offense, and he's made some plays, man, broken some tackles, which is crazy. He only has 67 break tackle. What I really think it boils down to is him being over 6 feet, 214 pounds, which means he's bigger than most DBs that are going to tackle him. And he has high motor, fight for yards, run after catch, aggressive catch. That's literally all. That's the ideal role of traits that you could have on a receiver. Because when you have that possession catch trait, you don't always get the best aggressive catches. That is something that's a pro tip from me to you. I want to say he only fumbled once in his entire career, and he only had 69 carrying. But he doesn't get a lot of volume passes, so there's that. But again, 52 run block, 49 impact block with the boost. He's the ideal candidate to win blocks on smaller DBs. Like I say, man, he's just a really solid player. 90 speed, 90 excel, 91 agility, 90 change of direction. Everything is great on this guy except jumping and short route. So can't really go wrong with that, man. Really good build on a player that starts out as a 66 overall and was never option number one on the offense. That's pretty cool. Darnell Mooney has been it's been up and down with Darnell Mooney, man. Like when I first got the team, this was the only option on the team. We had Allen Robinson for a couple seasons, but he was already on the decline, man. He's already on the decline, and Mooney was fast. Mooney was 94 speed, so we had to maximize what we have on this team when we got here. He has low agility, but he has 90 plus or 90 change of direction, 90 plus everything else. Just a slot demon, bro. He has the drop passes trait. Never drops those. Never drops those, man. Like almost never. He's got 99 catching, but he also has the drop catch trait. Like doesn't really make sense. Cannot compute. Take a look at the stats, man. It's gonna shock you. It's gonna shock you. The first season with Mooney, he went off, man. This is my first season on a team, first season in the league. The user before me actually did pretty decent with Mooney. Didn't do too much with him as a second year player. 39 catches. I don't know if he was hurt or not, or whatever. Maybe he just wasn't a very big offensive player. But 66 catches and 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's trending up. You know what I mean? It's trending up. And we were able to capitalize on it and double everything. 121 catches, 2,200 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's insane. The following season is a season that Corey Johnson was drafted, and he went off. Darnell Mooney, though, did start the season after the first 4 or 5 games, leading the league in receptions. Then he got hurt this year. So he got hurt, missed a couple games, and again, Johnson just continued to flourish into what he is now. And that's a 99 overall. Essentially, he has 6 upgrade points, so you can say he's a 105 overall player. Following season, 89 catches, just under 1,400 yards here, 13 tutties, very respectable season. And then we again continue to just absolutely go off with the pass game. We really hit our stride in understanding everything that we needed to understand in our custom playbook to maximize passing, and that should happen in your progression of Madden over a year. You know what I mean? So by March, April, May, you should know everything there is to know about your offense and capitalize on that. And there you go. Number 2 receiver with 96 catches, 1,900 yards, and 19 touchdowns. That's pretty damn good. That's wide receiver 1 numbers. Even in Madden. Even in this Madden, which was very pass happy. That's still wide receiver 1 numbers. And this is the second best receiver on the team. This year, 108 catches. We hit that 100-plus mark again for the second time in Mooney's career. 15 touchdowns. 1,700 yards. Nothing to scoff at, bro. Like he's a slot demon. This is why I trust him in the slot so much. I trusted him on that touchdown, on that play in the red zone in the Super Bowl where we got pick six. You know what I mean? I trust him a lot because he just makes those plays very consistently. But didn't make one that time. But yeah, man, that's Mooney. That's his stats. That's his build. Then we get to the pride and joy of the offense, man. This is Corey Johnson, CJ3K, the 105 overall player. Like I said, he's 99 overall with 6 skill points that we can't use. So, you know what I mean? There's that. 5'10", 187 pounder. Essentially, he's Tim Brown. Just faster. Or you can say he's like AB, Antonio Brown. This is the pick we got for an early exit in the playoffs, man. First round, 23rd overall. We got Corey Johnson, man, for a first round exit. I think that season we might have lost to either the Packers or the Falcons in the playoffs. And ever since then, man, 2024 offensive rookie of the year, best wide receiver in 26 and 27, league leader in receptions twice, and of course 4 Pro Bowls. And here's his career stats, man. This is a down year for him. You know what I mean? He would have had over 3,000 yards again if that last game of the season actually counted. Because I guess we just played too late, man. We played at 3 a.m. Commissioner advanced at 3 a.m. Like who would have thought commissioners were online at 3 a.m. advancing leagues? But yeah, man, we would have went over 3,000 yards for the second time in his career. But just doing it once is enough for me. 3,288 yards, 42 touchdowns. We absolutely went off. As a rookie, just under 2,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 125 catches. Like, what? Like, these are crazy numbers. But this is Madden 22, and this is what you were able to do because you had so much time in the pocket, and crossers would get open. And you had big posts over the top for one-play touchdowns, and all this other crazy stuff, man. Catching somebody in press when they move their safety or they drop their safety into a curl flat, but they're still in two-man under. It's underneath coverage. We're 88 and out the gate, man. Then all of the tunnel screens, you can see the rack yardage here, 1,151 rack yards, because we were hitting screens like it's nobody's business. You playing off coverage, don't want to get the top blown off. Yeah, we'll hit a screen, hit a wide receiver screen, a tunnel screen, a jet touch pass. We have plenty of ways to get the ball to our number one targets and rack up those numbers, man. And that was the best season I've ever had with a receiver. 32-88, 42 touchdowns, hands down the best season I've ever had a receiver in any Madden in terms of yardage. Now, I want to say I definitely broke the receptions record in Madden 21. Was it 21? Yeah, it was 21. We broke the receptions record in 21, but this is the most yards I've ever had, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Now our tight end, we've had plenty of tight ends in this offense. We've had natural wide tight ends. This is what you would call a big slot. You know what I mean? Big slot tight end. He's not an inline blocker at all. But here you go, hovering around 1,000 yards for his 3 years as a starter. Had him on the roster for 2 seasons prior, where we didn't play him at all because we had other guys playing there. But for the most part, man, he's a player that never really played. This is another one of those storylines, man. Juwan Johnson out of Oregon, just whittling away, practice squad player, cut, free agency, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, he's an 86 speed tight end that in Madden 22 can torch man coverage, can get over the top on corner routes and stuff like that. He does a really good job separating and being a big body on the outside. I sometimes have run him on the outside as a Z before Kirkpatrick became X Factor. But yeah, just run him outside on a Z and as a Z and just put it up, throw a fade to him. He's 6'4", 230. Pretty good athlete, 86 speed. Nothing too crazy, but that 86 spec catch is really what makes him able to make those plays. Still not the best blocker, but 62 is very well for a guy that's playing in the slot. You know what I mean? He's not an inline blocker. I don't need him to be. And we were able to take advantage of that, man. He's pretty good in that role. Impact block is solid at 50 plus. So yeah, again, aggressive catch, run after catch, fight for yards, keep feet in bounds, and high motor. Those are all the traits that you need to be able to win jump balls. You don't want possession catch on your big receivers because that means they're not going for aggressives. Keep that in mind. I've said that multiple times in this video. Shout out to Jalen Samuels playing fullback for me. Playing tight end too for the first couple years on the team, where he would consistently get catches, man. 35 catches, 500 yards, and 5 touchdowns here. But for the most part, he was a free agent for 2 years in the league until I got here, and we used him as an H tight end, which essentially is a fullback or a wing, and then until we got a better wing, in my opinion. But yeah, he didn't do too much. This year he did catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl, which is his first touchdown in 3 seasons. That's insane to think. Like, wow, that's how long it's been since he played tight end 2 for me. Rushing wise, there you go. Fullback dive, 2 fullback dives for 1 touchdown, fullback dive for a touchdown. You know what I mean? So, he's consistently scored a touchdown every season, at least one. But yeah, man, integral part of the offense. Should have moved him to fullback at some point, but the only reason I would want to move him to fullback instead of tight end is because when I go to an I form, I'm stuck in that I form because I can't audible out because he's running the fullback and he's a tight end. But that would allow me to go from I form to 12 personnel sets in my offense. So that was always pretty cool. I like to, mess around with people sometimes, go from one thing to another and like throw off their defense. Emmett Drummond, man, 4-year starter, 85 overall guy. He has the most touchdowns of his career this season. But last season is when he went off, man. First Super Bowl year, he went off 700 yards, 9 touchdowns, another 800 yards and 12 touchdowns in the pass game, off of 52 catches, man. Like this, he's the prototypical spread scat back, third down back. You're always in a shotgun, a threat to catch a pass, a threat to take the run, and then read options off of that. You know what I mean? So Emmett Drummond, shout out to him. Just being a solid player for me, man. Being a solid player. You saw his stats. Here are his attributes. Can't go wrong with that, man. This is a running back that is pretty ideal in my offense. I believe he maybe fumbled 2 or 3 times in his entire career. He doesn't have the high motor trait, but he does have fight for yards. I wish he would have had run after catch because sometimes the rack animations out of the backfield are kind of wonky. But it is what it is, man. I drafted him because he was a clear-cut receiving back, and I was okay with being able to build up his elusive back traits to get that juke up, to get the change of direction and everything like that. And I knew that would come with time, which is fine. But being able to have confidence in a running back that has 80 catching, 78 release, that is, I honestly, it might be the highest release of any back in the league right now. 78 release, bro. Like, that is insanity. It's insanity. I'm actually going to check that right now to see who has the highest release from a running back. So release, essentially in Madden, is how much you separate in man coverage. So we'll go to NFL rosters real quick. We'll slide over to halfbacks. And we'll go NFL. And we're going to go over to release. Yeah. Boom. Highest release in the league next to Alvin Kamara, Tyler Sprinkle, Jermaine Dunbar. But essentially, yeah, highest release in the league. Even higher than CMC. That's pretty dope. That is pretty dope. And that's a testament to my scouting. You know what I mean? But just knowing what I was looking for in a running back and being able to get it is pretty dope. Because he was very good on, all halfbacks in this game were very good on out routes. But I feel like I could always trust him to win when it was man coverage. And even though I didn't always look for him, because of the receivers that I had versus man coverage, he would be open, man. He would be open. 82 stamina kind of sucks, but he was able to do his thing, man. He was able to do his thing. Not only did he catch passes and run the ball, we did have him on kick returns and stuff like that a few times throughout his career, punt returns here. But yeah, man, really consistent piece of the offense, bro. And like I said, I couldn't ask for a more ideal running back for my system. And this system is a custom playbook, but it's based off of the spread playbook, the spread offense, Chip Kelly, where we spread to run, honestly. But if you're gonna have six in the box, I will definitely pass. If you're gonna show single high safety, I will definitely pass. But if you're too deep shell, I'll run the ball. You know what I mean? It's just simple stuff like that. Simple philosophies. And essentially that's our offense, bro. Spread offense. I can't say we were spread to run as much in the last couple of seasons, or basically once we got Mahomes. But definitely, primarily with Justin Fields, we were a spread to run offense, and that's that's pretty. It's pretty. We ran it the best that we possibly could, man. And if you didn't know the passing stats with Patrick, my homeboy, two-time MVP right here. Um, we went up in QBR every season. That is also pretty dope. Even though we threw 95 touchdowns this year, the year prior to in our first Super Bowl with 8,300 yards, um, we had a better QBR this year and took less sacks while throwing the ball more. That's growth, man. That's fucking growth, bro. Um, the elusive 100 touchdowns, man. I can never get it. I can never get the 100. I tried a couple times. Um, but yeah, man, 488 yards a game. That's craziness. Craziness, man. But anywho, that's the offense. Let's get over to the defense, man. It's not going to be as long on the defense, but I'll definitely go into detail on a couple guys, man. Starting with the star of the show, the most impactful player on my defense, Brendan Whitlock. I actually happen to live on Whitlock Road, as a matter of fact. So I didn't name him. That's how he came out of the draft class. But Brendan Whitlock is definitely going to go down as one of the greatest players in this league. Just the sheer numbers, man. The impact on the game. His first two seasons, he started out as a star dev player. Second round pick, I want to say. Yep, there you go. Another pick that we got for losing early in the playoffs, man. Three-time Pro Bowler, best linebacker of the year twice in a row, both Super Bowl victories. And here we go. Now, here's the funny thing, right? He had a sack and a half in the Super Bowl, but he was gone in the playoffs this year. The year prior to, he went off for sack fumbles in each game leading up to the Super Bowl. It was pretty dope. But I don't expect him to get many sacks against mobile quarterbacks. That's just not how I play defense versus mobile QBs. Now, what I will do versus mobile QBs is I'll put my two edge rushers, who are basically my contains, is I'll make sure that they have the strip ball trait so that if they ever do get out of the pocket and run into that contain, we're going to get a sack fumble. It's not every time, but it's a probability that we are, or a heightened probability that we will. But yeah, man, here's the week 18 where he should have had 6 sacks. But other than that, man, 1, 2, 3, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games in a row with a sack or more, or a half sack or more. This game he had 3. Took a couple games off, and he had 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games in a row with a sack. First 2 games of the season, he went missing, but it's all good. Packers is a run-first team, not a lot of holding the ball and stuff like that. Play action is what he thrives on. But we got a dub, 62-19. So again, Rams as well. Didn't do too much versus him, but we were up big, so it didn't really matter. He definitely went off against these Seahawks with 4.5 of them things. Cardinals game, 49-42 victory. Coming up with, he had a clutch sack in his game that pretty much sealed it. Put him in a third and long situation. I remember that game because this game is what I was really calling like the game of the year, because I knew that this Cardinals user was going to rip through the league, and he ended up doing just that with 54 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions. Shout out to that guy, man. Another big game right here against the Broncos. This was a top user. He was undefeated at the time, and we ended up with 10 tackles, bruh. 5 TFLs and 3 sacks. Like when I tell you I have these guys down to a T, when I can tell their game plans, I'm like, okay, he's a runner. He's gonna run this. He's gonna run that. This is how he's gonna run it. Cool, cool, cool. Force him to pass. Force him to pass against this defense, and it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. This is his first interception, man, against the Steelers, against the commissioner of the league. Didn't get a sack, but we did get a pick. Did it go for six? It did. Pick six. And what's so funny is that because he's my best pass rusher, I always felt the need to send him at the quarterback on every play. But what I learned in this game is that I don't have to do that. Number two is going to help me in Madden 23 is because I have the Cowboys in my league. I have the Cowboys, and I've played 9 games. I think I played 3 with the Cowboys, and I've noticed that I don't need to send Michael Parsons after the quarterback every time. I can just have him on the line of scrimmage, bluff him, drop him into coverage, and people are going to be doubling him because he's obviously the best pass rusher on the team. But yeah, man, got his first pick. It happened to go for 6. Like I said, this was just building up, man, to the Defensive Player of the Year award, bro. Like against the Chiefs, another top team, 25-21 in this game. Didn't get a sack, but it is what it is. Crusaders 3 sacks, half a sack versus the Vikings here. Versus the Niners 1 sack, Vikings 1 sack, Packers got 1, Crusaders again, Chargers no sacks here. I can't remember if this was a CPU game or what. It's pretty low scoring, so it had to be a CPU game. This is a sim. 28 points. Yeah, I'm definitely scoring way more than 28 points in a game. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Brendan Whitlock. Again, what it really boils down to is those 19 total sacks and 27 TFLs, man. And a pick 6. Should have won Defensive Player of the Year, bro. Yeah, that's my guy, man. That's my guy on D. The other guy on defense, man, he's not really the guy, but he is a story, And it's gonna be Pat Boware. This guy was drafted late rounds. It's one of those oh, the draft is over. We're gonna go ahead and sim the rest of the draft. He was a 6th-round pick, bro. 6th-round pick that was superstar dead, but only a 62 overall. And again, because this league doesn't have regression on, we went on ahead and just kept him in as a starter. No matter what, we had to build him up because he wasn't ever going to lose dev. He ended up culminating into a contract year, 11 sack season, 11 and a half, 15 TFLs. It's pretty good, man. We spent most of this year injured. I think I want to say he missed 5 or 6 games. Missed 5, plus the game that he got injured in, so 6 games. But ended up with 5 sacks, man, and impacts in the playoffs. Got the sack and the CFL in the Super Bowl, man. So shout out to him. He ended up getting that under pressure trait, and one of the things that I love about this game was the combo of having under pressure, and then having this guy with pass committed. If this league allowed it, and I was able to change both this player's abilities, under pressure and pass committed is such a elite role, bro. It's an elite role. Reinforcement is something that he actually literally just got before the Super Bowl game. As you can see right here, his dev trait was increased because he won linebacker of the year, So cool beans. I would have loved to put Fearmonger here and under pressure here. Like that is probably my ideal role. I don't like no outsiders this year. Obviously it doesn't matter anymore. It's my last game. I already played it, but yeah, didn't like no outsiders this year, so I went with under pressure, and I found out that under pressure, pass committed, and Fearmonger was literally the best role for a defender, or edge rusher, anyways. But yeah, Roquan is Roquan. When he left the team, he was able to get Enforcer, strip specialist, and he had momentum shift on him. I was like, okay, I'm cool with those abilities. I'm actually good with that. Let's go ahead and rock with that. Now that Enforcer, man, it came to play. It did. Because I played so much cover 3 and force underneath passes. Like he was able to make a couple fumbles, man. 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. That's because when he hits, he gets the fumble too. And it's craziness, man. So in the playoffs, he's got 9 tackles here, 4 tackles here, 4 tackles. He's got 1 interception, which was in the Super Bowl, which is great. And forced fumble recovery. Um, there you go, another fumble, forced fumble recovery, forced fumble recovery, fumble recovery here. It's pretty dope, man. Another forced fumble here. Like it's pretty damn good if you ask me. And it's not like super OD like it was in like Madden 20 where every tackle you got with an enforcer was a fumble. Like no, no, and I'm okay with that. I'll be looking for it, but I'm okay with it not being a fumble every time. Um, but yeah, man, the other user used him a lot differently. He had 10.5 sacks here, 8.5 sacks here. And here you go, Roquan just doing his status quo with my team. As you can see here, like he wasn't getting a lot of tackles, man. 70 tackles, 63. This is probably why I was okay with him leaving the team. Because it just wasn't impacting enough. He wasn't impacting shit. He had 4 forced fumbles this season, but still, the other user used him a lot better than I did. But he came back with me and 107 tackles, 8 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 3 picks. I want to say that he probably used him as an edge rusher this year, or something like that. It's kind of crazy. 23 TFLs, inside linebacker. It's pretty dope. But yeah, next on the list is the most up and down player I've ever had in Madden. Um, Jalen Johnson, Double J. Man, this guy, 9 sacks, I mean, 9 interceptions in the last 2 seasons. But this season right here, bro, this is the year prior to me winning my first Super Bowl, and I was just like, yo, how in the actual fuck is he not making plays? Only 3 interceptions, right? Look at the pass deflections as well. 9. Like, bro, like you should have had 10 interceptions. In my opinion, should have had 10 picks. And we turned that around with this season here with 9, and that's much improved from 3. But my first season with the team, 16 off rip, 16 picks, made the Pro Bowl, and I've played him in the same role in a very similar defensive structure ever since. And he's never gotten back to that. I'm like, yo, how, Sway? Because I've had and in the other league that I'm in that you'll see later in this video, we had Marlon Humphrey playing in the same role with the exact same abilities. I'm like, yo, how is it different? You know what I mean? Like 8 is low. I feel like these 9s are low as well because people throw to the flat so much, but or they throw to the sideline so much. I'm like, dog, like how is Jalen Johnson not making plays? This year was really, she was really bad. But so with Jalen Johnson again, man, up and down, up and down. Pretty consistent the last 2 years, obviously with 9 interceptions and 9 interceptions, but the pass deflections are way down this year. So this season, 2026, our first Super Bowl, which I'll keep bringing up, we led the league in turnovers, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why, and I'll show you the structure of my defense and how and why it worked. So, and Jalen Johnson definitely did not play there. So This is where my defense was last year. So I had Hood, who is 6'3", 6'2", 20 pounds, 93 speed, obviously high man coverage. Um, I would run cover three hard flat for the majority of the year, and this is why. Because when I called cover three hard flat, and you had your slot wide receiver to the left, that would put Jalen Johnson over your slot, who has acrobat, and that would bring my strong safety Burgess down into into the right hard flat. So you got a 91 speed, 87 zone, acrobat in the slot right. And then he used to be 90 speed. I think he regressed a little bit, but yeah, there you go. 90 speed, 99 everything in coverage, acrobat in the left slot. Then you would have this guy with under pressure coming up your middle, and then you had Brandon Whitlock on the outside with pass committed coming off your edge. And then the other guy I had rushing on the inside was Derek Brooks, who again another player, man, that just grew into the team. Really good run stopper, really good run stopper. At 6'4", 308, with 86 block shed, just really good run stopper, man. But he also has 97 power moves, so he was getting after it, man, getting a couple sacks until he got relegated to the bench this year. But it is what it is. um, but yeah, so that was my interior rush was Bolware and Brooks. So you had superstar player, 97 power move player. The edge was Whitlock on one side, and then I had Shaq Barrett, who unfortunately has super regressed, so he's on the bench as well. But essentially, another good player off the edge. So he's a solid number two rusher. But obviously, this guy's younger, and I played the younger guy. And over the middle, we would have two safeties. So it was Will Harris, who had quite a few interceptions last season. He had 33 tackles, 5 TFLs, a sack, 5 picks, right? 2 pass deflections. That was his numbers for the year. That was sub linebacker number 2. Sub linebacker number 1. I want to say he might have made the Pro Bowl, man. But sub linebacker number 1 was Brandon Stevens last season. And he went off for 10 picks, 3 sacks, 51 tackles. This is my user. This is my user for the most of the year. Went off. He went off. So you had to, like people were just throwing willy nilly, throwing to the flats, getting picked off, throwing to my user, getting picked off, throwing to the other sub linebacker, getting picked off. And that's well before we upgraded our defense. So I was like, bro, if we had 75 turnovers last year, we about to go off this year. Because here's what we added. We added Kenny Moore, who's a free agent. Nobody wanted him because he's only 88 speed, right? Only 88 speed corner. He's gonna get roasted. Da 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 da. Nobody wanted him. I picked him up. Absolutely. He has acrobat. He has acrobat. Yes, I'll take that guy. 100%. So I added that acrobat, so that essentially moved my defensive rookie of the year, Josh Jobe. Unfortunately, moved him to the bench. He never saw the field, man. But here's what he did as a rookie: 46 tackles, 2 TFLs, 11 picks, 10 pass deflections, and a touchdown. Kenny Moore actually didn't replicate his numbers, but yeah, like the guy just went off, man. So like when I called cover three, and my free safety, my range safety here, was Demario Randall, another guy I drafted, late round pick that just ended up becoming a starter, because we kept him on the roster, kept building him up, man. It's a pretty solid guy across the board. Really good catching at 76. Stats right here. Last season, 5 interceptions, 96 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 9 TFLs, 10 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown. Like, I'm very much okay with those numbers, man. It was a really consistent starter. He even got 3 interceptions this year playing sub linebacker, number 2 here. But yeah, bro. Like the defense last season, I think was better. And we held people to a lot less points. We had more turnovers. But I think this year is when we added so much firepower because our offense was so set, and we lost Lane Johnson, we lost Zach Martin. So those are two huge contracts that we're no longer paying, right? We're no longer paying those huge contracts. We got this guy. He's still on a rookie contract. He's still on a rookie deal. I think I did re-sign him in the season or something like that. Let's just double check his contract here, but he's still there you go. He's still making he's on rookie deal money. You know what I mean? He's on rookie deal money. So the only highly paid guys we have on offense is Darnell Mooney, Patrick Mahomes, and Brandon Brooks. And Brandon Brooks might not even be making a buku money either. Let me just double check this here. Contracts, $8 million. Imagine, $8 million is all he's making. Johnson's making 15. See how much Mooney's making here. Mooney is making 15 million, 15.6. So he's getting paid about 800,000 more than Corey Johnson. And then Mahomes, I believe, is like 40 million or something like that at this point. Let me see. Let's see here. 46 million. And we still got 2 more years left in contract. It's crazy. So yeah, we weren't paying a ton of people on offense. We were not paying this guy big money. He's a normal dead running back, you know. We're not paying big contracts to O-line here. Johnson's not making big money. Neither is Goddard. So we had a ton of money to dump into defense, and we were returning almost every starter from this defense. Plus we added, bro. Like we added Roquan Smith. We added Stuckey, Tevin Stuckey. Like this is my my high bid guy. I was like, I have to get this run stopping defensive tackle. And from Arizona, look, 11 sacks last season. That's pretty dope. 4, 8.5, 3.5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. And I guess he just didn't want to re-sign him for whatever reason, or couldn't re-sign him or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but shit, I'll take it. I'll take those 45 tackles and 11 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. You know what I mean? So that's who we pursued. First stage of free agency was Stuckey and Roquan. We had to get those two, right? So after we secured those 2 bags, it was like, oh snap! There's a 94 speed safety out here. We had so much cap. 94 speed safety just sitting there in free agency. Yes, please. Come on over, my friends. We were freaking reigning Super Bowl champs. Yeah, you want to come over here? You know what I mean? Of course you want to come over here, bro. And like I knew this guy's name because I seen him make plays against me. With these Minnesota Vikings, man, like never went over 10 interceptions, but he got 7 for me. It's tied for second best in his career. And yeah, it's just impacting plays, bro. Just being over the top, just knowing a 94 speed safety is back there, that's a sense of security, man. A big sense of security. So we went ahead and upgraded our interior pass rush, our interior run stoppers. Oh, here's the big find of the year was 80 overall Michael Pierce that nobody wanted. Inside stuff on a defensive tackle? Yes, please. Because the people who were giving me the most problems in this game weren't the passers. I could deal with those. It was the guys that wanted to run the ball on me all game. And putting 2 defensive tackles with inside stuff in the middle of my defense changed the game, man. Changed the game, man. People were no longer able to just run inside, outside, or anything like that, because I would essentially gear my defense up to stop outside runs and force you to run inside into 2 inside stuffs. There you go. So, yeah, man, we turned this defense around. Like, none of these players on this team, besides Roquan Smith, was here when we got here. And we just got guys out here that's just ringing the bells, man. It's built perfectly. Perfectly built defense. This combo right here really took it to over the top. Like this made my defense impenetrable, I would say. And it really, of course, it depends on opponent to opponent. But you know, people who want to run the ball can't. because I know how to stop outside runs, but I was susceptible to inside runs because these are my starters here. Aleem McNeil, which wasn't bad. You know, he wasn't bad as a starter in our first Super Bowl season. Um, Picked him up late in the year, but he was pretty good in our playoff run there. And then Booth down here, who's literally DT number 4, which is kind of crazy. But we built this guy up to be the run stopper. He's 319 pounds. Um, and as you can see, didn't play at all. Didn't play at all this year, man. But he's a pretty decent player. 7th round pick. Ended up, developing nicely over 3 seasons. Into a, what is he, 79 overall with the boosts? 76 default. But yeah, pretty good guy, man. 84 block shed, 93 strength, 85 tackle. That's all I needed him to do was stop the run. You know what I'm saying? Just be fat in the middle. That's all. But yeah, man. That was the build of the team. Oh, here's the other thing, man. Special teams, bro. Let's get him in his proper spot. We picked this guy up solely to play special teams and solely because he has 80 hit power and the big hitter trait. Now, I don't think he forced a fumble this season, but he definitely made some special teams tackles. Definitely made some special teams tackles, man. 12 to be exact. But yeah, that's how we were running our defense here, our special teams, as a matter of fact. So ideally, I wanted to move Keanu Neal back to safety, and I got the okay to do it, but because he was still an inside linebacker, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep him there, and because I found this safety here. In hindsight, I should have just moved Keanu Neal there, and just picked up another inside linebacker that had the big hitter trait, and moved him to that spot right there. But the other big hitter is Willie Gay. Willie Gay has forced fumbles in the playoffs and in regular season as well. Now it's only showing 2 here, which is kind of trash, but he definitely has forced more fumbles. Let's see if we can see the playoffs here. No, didn't force any playoffs. But yeah, he definitely gets big hits. Definitely forces fumbles. It's happened multiple times. So yeah, let's not act like Willie Gay is not out here ringing bells. 240 pounds, 86 hit power. Got that big hitter trait. That's all I need, man. That's all I need is a hit, baby. That's all I need is a hit. You feel me? But yeah, man, that's the defense. I'll get into the Ravens in a second. So stay right there, man. All right, man. So here we are back in Couch Coaches, which ended in June, I think. Maybe July. No, I think it was definitely June. It's been a while, man. This is the first time Couch Coaches has ended this early. Um, and I honestly couldn't tell you why. Like, I was still enjoying the game, having fun with it. Obviously, won my division again, 15-2. Didn't get to the Super Bowl, man. We had a really close game against the Chiefs, if I remember correctly. Let's see the playoff bracket. It should still be here. Boom, yeah, lost to the Chiefs 48-42, man. It's pretty tough. Then he goes on to lose by 3 to the Jaguars, who then raffle stomped the Giants 70-3 in the Super Bowl. The Giants should have never made it to the Super Bowl, man. He had a really easy road as a 7 seed, playing the number 2 seeded LA Chargers. This season was simmed, I think, the last 3 or 4 games. So for whatever reason, the Rams made the playoffs. That's Dan Williams. Not to talk shit about Dan, but he's not a playoff team in this league typically. Just people stopped caring about the league because they knew it was ending. So, people were just like not playing, giving up force wins or whatever. So that's how you got this wonky ass NFC playoff picture, where Sheldon was able to get a dub over the Rams, which is expected. I don't know how we only won by 7. I want to say he got a forced win versus the Lions because Ryan had already uninstalled Madden at this point. And then he meets the San Francisco 49ers, who I don't even know, like, who was the Niners? Like, I don't recall. You know what I mean? As a no-name user, I would say no, no, no. I'm lying. That's Aubrey. Aubrey, I don't know how the fuck you lose a game 48-10 in the playoffs, bro. And he was running my offense at the time too, so that's kind of shit. Um, literally downloaded my playbook and was running my offense. But yeah, man, like just it's tough, man. Seeing somebody lose by 67 points in the Super Bowl, that's pretty rough. AFC was obviously super stacked this year. You had myself, you had the Chiefs, you had the Jaguars, you had the Bengals, the Browns, all users that are always going to be in the playoffs every single year. The outliers here. Oh, actually, this Chargers user was actually pretty good. But I think he also may have either uninstalled the game and because 24-17 is typically not a score that you would get in this game. But anyways, David's Jets made the playoffs, got a wild card win, and then gets blown out by the Jaguars, of course. But yeah, man, me and M Pittman had a really close game. Came down to the last possession, and we lost it, bro. But it is what it is. He goes on to again lose, and then Gvon Cheat, man, 67-point loss in the Super Bowl. It's pretty tough, man. That's pretty rough to have just. And this league has been up this entire time on this screen, and like just to see that 70-3 in the Super Bowl, that's pretty tough. But yeah, man, let's hop into the team that we had built up here. Now in this league, XP is on 100, so it's on default. So there's nobody that's like superly duperly overpowered and shit like that, unless you built them up that way, man. As you can see here, we still had Lamar Jackson, Action Jackson on the squadron. O-line was crazy, man. O-line was crazy. We always had Ronnie Stanley there. We traded for Ali Marpet, I want to say in season 2 or 3. And we traded for Brandon Scherf early on. We traded Patrick Queen and something else to get Scherf. And he was superstar dev up until he missed 3 games with injury. And the end of the season, he lost his dev, bro. And that was very unfortunate because he had always been, he probably still is, a top 3, top 5 right guard in the league. Let's take a look. It'll tell you over the ratings. It's number 4. He's the number 4 ranked right guard in the league, and he's not superstar dev. That's unfortunate, man. So one of the things that comes with being the Ravens and having all the skill positions pretty much filled is you get to scout O line and build up the best O lineman in the league because that's how I run this team because that's all the team really needs is defense and O line. Skill positions are all taken care of on offense. Running back, quarterback, receivers, all taken care of, right? So we ended up drafting this guy here, Nolan Whitfield. I want to say he was our first pick. Yeah, he was our first pick of the league. First round, 27th overall. This is what you get for losing in the second round of the playoffs. He's made 2 Pro Bowls. He's up to an 88 overall by default, and this is what I mean, bro. Like, these players aren't superly duperly juiced, but they're pretty damn good if you ask me. Not the greatest run blocker apparently, because he only has 77 by default, but 88 run block finesse, 88, 82 run block power. More of a pass blocker, obviously, but yeah, man. Mans is the number 3 ranked center in the league, and I take pride in knowing that I built him up that way. Just like across the board, very, very solid. Now Alex Greer, the other lineman I drafted. I want to say he was a second round pick though. Here's the funny thing, right? Yeah, second round pick. Alex Greer, when I drafted him, was a center, and I have him playing right tackle. Nolan Whitfield was drafted as a right tackle, and I have him playing center. But because so many people would QB contain me all game, it was never a point of me really having great tackles because they were essentially just babysitters. So this guy was able to just sit right here at right tackle and just build up, build up into who he is. 87 run block finesse. So all those inside zones, outside zones, QB read options, all that shit like that comes in handy. 84 impact block is pretty good as well. So and then having 89 pass block finesse means that those pesky people who aren't containing that have elite pass rushers out there, you're gonna need a power rusher on that right side to really get to me. And it's pretty dope that built him up to be where he is as well. Pretty good offensive lineman. Mark Andrews, man, Mandrews in real life never really developed, bro. Like it never really developed, man. And even though I went off of him, as you can see here, this is season 1 of the league. 95 catches, 1,700 yards, 21 touchdowns. I don't even think he made the Pro Bowl here, dog. Like, he might have made the Pro Bowl. I know he made the Pro Bowl this year in real life. This might have been a Pro Bowl season, but he did not get Dev. He didn't get Superstar Dev. Like, bro, it's such a disrespectful thing. Like, I've had the Ravens in Madden 22. I've had him in Madden 20, Madden 19. I've never gotten Mark Andrews to Superstar Dev in this game. That's tough. And I've had seasons like this as well in the other games. Consistent 1,000-yard receiver. We clearly are on a decline here, though. Like, literally every year it's just went down and down and down. But yeah, once I noticed that, like, okay, this is another one of those years where Mark Andrews is going to get disrespected and not get a dev trait, not a scenario game, or not an end of the season award or nothing like that. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I've seen enough. No longer need to focus on him in the offense. Which it is what it is, but Lamar Jackson's best friend, man. Marquise Hollywood Brown finally got Superstar Dev towards the end here. As you can see, there it is. Superstar Dev trait upgraded. He had been Star Dev forever. But there you go. Evasive and Slotomatic is what we put on him. That's the ideal build that I would have on Marquise Brown because he does have 90 juke move, I believe. Yeah, 90 juke move, so he's going to get those elite jukes and elite cuts and stuff like that. But in terms of his numbers, man's got better with age, man. He got better with age. And this is, like every season I've played here, he's went off in different ways. You know what I mean? Season 1, 17 touchdowns, only 70 catches because we were focusing on the rookie, Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews still got a ton of targets, 95 catches. You know what I mean? Right here in season 2, we were trying to get Marquise Brown over the 100 catch threshold. We ended up doing that, but it did not result in getting Superstar Dev. So again, once I see that Madden is going to keep disrespecting a player and not give them dev scenarios or give them end of the season upgrades, I'm like no longer trying with those guys, right? So he became an afterthought in the offense here. 70 catches, 52 catches. I think he was hurt this year. Yeah, for sure he was hurt this season. And then the final season, absolutely went off, man. 2,000 yards, 95 catches, 17 touchdowns again. And this is pretty good for a wide receiver too, man. Just like in the Bears league where we played 7 seasons in there. No, we played 5 seasons in there. So we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here as well. Except this league ended early. Anywho, that's Marquise Brown's numbers. I think he made the Pro Bowl twice. Rashad Bateman, though, this is the guy, man. This is the guy. Over 100 catches every season, except the last one because, like I said, it was simmed the last 4 or 5 games, and which is very unfortunate, man. It's very unfortunate because I would have loved to have been able to say that he had 100 catches the first 5 years of his career, which has never been done. But yeah, 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards every season, over 2,000 twice, over 20 touchdowns here in this season as well. Yeah, Rashad Bateman was that guy for me. And it wasn't like this wasn't he wasn't super dominant. You know what I mean? He was never really super dominant. Has route tech and deep out elite, but he was never really dominant for me. You know what I mean? 93 speed is just not enough to consistently take the top off. But that's what we had Hollywood Brown for. So, ideally, I would have loved to be able to like throw back shoulder fades with him and stuff like that. But he's just not that build of a player. He's only 6 feet tall, and most DBs are equal in size or bigger. So, yeah. Here's the dark horse, Carlo Canty, um, who absolutely went off this season. He was on his way to being the, I was gonna have 3 receivers over 100 catches this year, um, and that's just cut and dry. He got the scenarios to get the upgrades here. Only a fourth round pick, and this is his second year, but the man's had superstar dev now, so he had the traits that he needed. Um, Aggressive catch, run after catch, no possession catch, which is always what we're looking for. Didn't have fight for yards, but it is what it is. He's just a big body guy that we played all over the place. We played him in a slot, played him as a Z, but essentially he was mainly a Z, and that's how I used him. He's a very similar build to Mike Kirkpatrick, so to speak. Essentially the same numbers across the board, except Kirkpatrick had 90 agility and he has 83. But everything else is just about the same. He only has 57 stiff arm, which sucks. But 79 break tackle, man. Um, yeah, this is another one of those builds that would have been interesting to build up over a couple more seasons, but it is what it is. Um, Donovan Peoples-Jones is on his team as well. Shamir Cook, another player that I really wanted to build up, but couldn't. He was never going to get a chance with the receivers I had on my roster. One of the things I do like to do is build up receivers and trade them, but apparently nobody bid on those this year. And like I think the league just died a lot faster than it usually did. This guy here though, Pro Bowl, what? Must have been as a kick returner or something like that. Wow, how did he make the Pro Bowl? How does he have a Pro Bowl on his record? That is very interesting. That is very interesting. Don't know how that man made the Pro Bowl. But what I wanted to show y'all on this player was the size, 6'3", 215. Was he drafted at 21? Yes, drafted at 21, 6'3", 215 pounds. 88 jumping, 87 speed, 90 acceleration, 87 agility. Like this would have been the ideal guy to build up as a Z, except for having a possession catch. That kind of stinks. But he's got 80 break tackle, 75 stiff arm, 82 juke, 75 spin. Like all those numbers hit thresholds to where he would have been great after the catch. Like not even a contested catch guy, just great after the catch on drags and stuff like that. The pride and joy of the offense, man. One of is Byron Gibson. This guy just he built up into an ideal player as well. Kind of in the mold of Emmett Drummond from the Bears franchise in SNFL. Another receiving back that I drafted and built up as a as an elusive back. So now Gibson had got up to X Factor Dev, which is great. Spin Cycle was his first ability unlocked, and I liked it so much that I kept it and doubled up with Spin Cycle and Evasive. So he has steerable spins and faster spins. So you know how dominant spins were in this game. It was, double spins were pretty fun to use with this guy and his build. And then to have Freight Train on top of that, just in case we ever got it activated, which it wasn't very often. We were running the ball, but when we were running read options and people would, of course, try to keep Lamar in the pocket, we could get Freight Train activated on spread runs. But yeah, pretty ugly face scan there, but I think it's a little bit better in here. But this guy goes off, man. Goes off. The numbers across the board, bro. 93 speed, 93 excel, 97 change of direction, 91 spin and juke, 80 stiff arm, 81 truck, 90 break tackle. This is one of the best builds, but you would never know it because he's a 20th ranked halfback because it was such an easy thing to just dump it off to the halfback in this game, and you get more XP for receiving than you do running with running backs. So it was so much easier for people to build up running backs in this game because everybody was just throwing baby out routes. because hard flats wouldn't cover them. So, but yeah, man, this is probably this is I like this build better than the Drummond build, obviously because he's an X Factor instead of normal Dev. But yeah, I went off with this guy, man. Never really a 2,000 yard rusher or anything like that. But we got to 1,000 yards rushing with him because we ran so many read options. And you can tell a difference in the offenses here. Having 189 carries, 186 carries, hovering around 180 carries on average per season, as opposed to with the Bears, we were only averaging maybe 120, 130 carries was the max that I had with 150 was the max that I had with Emmett Drummond. But yeah, 1,000 yard receiver here, 6 touchdowns. Consistently getting the ball to him in the pass game as well. Like his rookie season, he had 1,800 total yards and 24 touchdowns. That's pretty insane. He even have 20 touchdowns on the ground, bro. Like that's just a testament to the respect that Lamar gets in the run game. Because I'm running read options, and if you're not gonna let Lamar out the back door, you got to deal with being -1 in the run game, and Gibson going off up the middle, man, hitting the cutback lane on you. So it was a lot of fun using this spread to run scheme. And obviously Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, man. We'll go over his stats and everything in a sec. But there's the abilities, man. Gambler has been my favorite superstar ability since Madden 20. Since they implemented abilities, this has been my go-to X factor for my quarterback. And sometimes it honestly doesn't work. I've thrown interceptions to AI defenders before with this active. But obviously the Lamar build in Madden 22, bro, is deadly. Having escape artist, gunslinger, and hot route master is pretty insane. Homer here because there was no point in having jukebox when it really didn't work for Lamar. It really did not work at all. I would love to be able to get like evasive here or something like that, but I don't think you can get evasive on a quarterback. You might be able to get it next year, Madden 23, but yeah, you can't get evasive. So we went with closer and Homer. So basically, we want to get to this as fast as possible. You know what I mean? Because I feel really unstoppable when I have this activated, and I can just gunslinger throws right past CPU defenders, and they can't pick it off. You know, just throw. All I do, snap the ball, look for the user, throw away from it. That's it. That was the offense, man. That was the offense. And Lamar Jackson, I'm glad they finally got a different face scan in Madden 23, because like this player card here, like this is from his Louisville days, bro. Like he does not look like this anymore. He's literally won MVPs, been the cover boy of the game, and they didn't get his face scan updated, but they did for Madden 23. Taking a look at the numbers, man. Again, the final like 5-6 games were simmed in this league, so you know whatever. So we weren't able to maximize all of our Lamar stats, but there you go, man. 145.4 QBR in our final full season with the team. We made a concerted effort to get our sacks down every season as well. So we started out with 37, 36, 28, 25, getting our sacks numbers down. And we only went over 500 passing attempts once. That's pretty crazy. That was season 1. That's kind of wild, man. 530 pass attempts here, but that's, CPU took over for me there. Rushing yards. Obviously ran a lot more earlier in the year because the escape artist was just super cracked. And then it got to a point where I was like, all right, let's go ahead and tone it down a little bit and become a more pocket passer. I think these first 2 seasons I used spread playbook and was just killing them with RPOs, QB runs, read options, QB power, all that shit. And then we went to a custom playbook after the second year, and just started implementing more of that into the game instead of just a spread playbook. Which, in hindsight, I'm glad I did because I won 2 Super Bowls with this playbook. Actually, 3 Super Bowls in Madden 22 with this playbook. But yeah, it's kind of bite me in the ass because I'm used to it, so used to it now, and I'm gonna have to go back to spread for next year because the league I'm in is not gonna allow custom playbooks. So yeah, kind of screwed. But there's the Lamar Jackson numbers. The low point of the career is 781 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's the low point. That's the low point. That's wild. Um, yeah, let's see here. On to the defense, man. On to the defense. It's a few guys here. Ali McNeil, again, same as the Bears franchise. We have him as our nose tackle. Pretty good guy. Tim Settle's pretty good as well. Um, Matabike, very disappointing. Mad I signed him um, for a big contract, but it is what it is, man. Solid player, nothing too crazy. Interior rusher is, pretty much a lock for like 3 to 5 sacks a season, and that's exactly what he got. 3 to 5 sacks a season. He had 1 year where I thought that like, yeah, this was the contract year. This is where he got me. This is where he got me, bro. This is where he got me. With 8.5 sacks, I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and re-sign him. And then it turns in 6 and his lowest TFL tackle of his career. Like, that's kind of trash. Um, 4.5 sacks here, five sacks here. It is what it is, man. But I think that's what this team was really missing. This team was really missing interior pass rush, and we had the edges. We had the edges down pat, man. But we were lacking playmakers in the secondary and in the front four. This just wasn't enough to get it done, bro. This wasn't enough to get it done. Now Odafe Owe, his build was this showed me that edge threat. I did not need edge threat in this game, and it wasn't as good as having pass committed. Um, Now his build is completely custom. We got into an X Factor, under pressure, pass committed, fearmonger. Essentially, if you're in a third and long, 3rd and 7, I'm 100% pass committing with this defensive build. And if you're not doubling him, he's coming around the edge. And if you get the ball off quick, he's got under pressure. You know what I mean? So like, this was like literally the ideal build. And the only reason I got to this was because I had Khalil Mack with the Bears team, and he had no outsiders and edge threat. And what I was noticing was when I would send him on a blitz, like say I'm sending 6, instead of him coming in straight at the quarterback, he would like look for contact because he had edge threat, because edge threat was forcing him to win the rep instead of just being the free man running in at the QB. I hated that. So I was looking for another ability besides edge threat, and I ended up with pass committed. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's great. Then I noticed again with Khalil Mack that having no outsiders, he was still looking to win on outside runs, but he would win inside, which is so bad. So he would not contain the edge. So I was like, you know what? No outsiders is not good. Let's find another ability. So we ended up sticking with under pressure. And this is the build that I came up with, Odafe Owe. I'm like, bro, this is probably the most deadly combination that I've ever fucking concocted in Madden, right? I remember Madden 21, I had the Bills in Ja'Cory's league, and we had under pressure and run stopper on Ed Oliver, and that was really good because he would get pressure from the interior pass rush as a 3 tech, and he wouldn't lose pass rush points on run plays with run stopper. So I'll pull it up real quick. I don't think I can equip it on him, but where's run stopper? There we go. Defenders with this ability do not need to spend a point on shed attempts during a run play. So basically, I had a defensive tackle or rush DT that would not lose pass rush points on run plays. Plus, he had under pressure. So whenever you were passing, I could also just pass commit, and he would win that rep, get the pressure, force the pick. I was like, all right, cool. So that was what really tied into having under pressure and pass committed on the outside edge rusher. And then Fearmonger is just literally just to piggyback on both of those things. So if you read the description here, some pass rushers intimidate quarterbacks with their sheer presence. When they enter the zone, they can apply significant pressure on quarterbacks even while engaged with blockers. So essentially, if he got a sack and he was able to get in the zone, and even if you go to double him, he's still getting pressure on your quarterback, getting those under pressure inaccurates, and forcing the ball to flutter to a defender, which is always warranted for my defense here. So again, man, we'll take a look at the stats. Odafe Owe, 26 and a half as a rookie, 20, 14 and a half. This is the year that he had edge threat. Like, and like I said, man, I noticed that edge threat was not the best ability in this particular game. I haven't tested it out that much. Well, I haven't tested it out at all in Madden 23 because, again, I only had the game for 10 hours, right? But the build with under pressure and pass committed is these 2 seasons here. Now, obviously, I think it would have been a lot higher than 19 and a half sacks if we would have been able to play the last couple games. So here you go. You got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, yeah. I think 4. He got 4 sacks in these games, in these last 4 games, but I think it would have been a little bit higher. That definitely against the Steelers. Against the Jags, I would have got a couple sacks. Always going to get sacks against the Bengals. Oh wait, I'm tripping. This is the regular season here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I definitely would have got more than 1.5 sack versus John. Yes, lost to the Steelers. Like, no, bro, that's crazy. So wow, when did he sim the league, bro? So I definitely did not lose to the Steelers. It was probably here. I know this is the game that the Lions, essentially just decided to run the ball the entire second half of the game, and that might have been it. So yeah, week 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Wow, 7 games were simulated. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, so we missed on the opportunity to beat up on these Steelers again. When did we play them last? So here you go. Here's the rundown of it, man. The first 7 games of the season: 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8.5 sacks through the first 6 games. We got none against the Bills because, again, this is another like game where he just like did not fucking he just threw picks instead of taking sacks, which I'm fine with. You know what I mean? He got big plays and he threw a ton of picks. Versus the Bengals, 2 sacks. Versus the Vikings, 2 sacks. Lions was none because again I never like he just ran the ball every down in the entire second half, killed the clock and everything. It was pretty bad. But yeah, and then simulated the season. So in those 7 simulated games, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 sacks in 7 games. That's pretty consistent. But I feel like we definitely would have had more than that. So we would have cracked over 20 at least in those games, and I definitely would have sent more blitzes just to ensure that he got more sacks. Now, here's the pride and joy of this defense right here, man. This is probably one of my favorite players on this team was LaShawn Gamble. This is a player we drafted, I want to say 2nd round or 3rd round, that ended up absolutely balling out, man. 6 sacks, 3 picks as a rookie, 7 pass deflections, 3 fumble recoveries, and I believe he won Defensive Rookie of the Year and made the Pro Bowl. Yeah, there you go. Well, didn't win Defensive Rookie of the Year, but he definitely made the Pro Bowl. I don't know how you don't make the Defensive Rookie of the Year with these stats, man. 21 TFLs, bro. 21. I've never replicated that. Honestly, never replicated that. 114, 12 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, no picks this year. And what's funny is this is the year that he had mid-zone KO. It does get 15 pass deflections, two more fumble recoveries, and a touchdown here. But man, like not getting an interception while having mid-zone KO is kind of weird. Mid-zone KO doesn't just mean he knocks the ball out; he gets better jumps. Like he reacts to the ball quicker. So right there, as you can see on the description here, defenders with this ability force more catch knockouts and react quicker in any midfield zone coverage less than 20 yards from the line of scrimmage inside the number. So essentially, from the 0 to the 20-yard point, he's reacting faster than any pass over the middle, right? From 10 to 20 yards outside, so anytime he's in a curl flat, seam flat, or anything like that, anything purple zone, to the outside, 10 to 20 yards, he reacts quicker to that. So I'm like, dog, like I mean, 15 pass deflections is nothing to scoff at by any player. Like I have DBs that don't get to 15 pass deflections, but yeah, this is a really good build player. Third round pick, 88 speed, 88 excel. He's up to 88 zone. That's insanity. I would have loved to keep playing with this guy. I would have loved to have been able to finally get to use a trait on him and get big hitter because he has high motor, spin, and swim. Love to put big hitter on the linebacker just so he can lay the lumber on guys over the middle. Um, because he's getting more than enough tackles, over 100 tackles a season. It's pretty damn good, man. Yeah, 109 as a rookie, 114 as a second year player, 66 solo. Just making plays, bro. Just making plays, bro. But that's my guy. And then we went and drafted another linebacker the year after that. He essentially is an off-ball linebacker at 6 feet 235, but I got him to get a ton of sacks because he's playing in my defense. And Adafe Owe is forcing so many people um, to focus on him in the pass rush. You know what I mean? So he's 87 speed, drafted as a rookie, 91 acceleration, up to 79 finesse move here. Impact block is low at 71, but he's got decent block shed at 73. 91 agility, high motor here, bull rush is his move, 83 stamina, 68 zone coverage. So like this is a very zone blitz heavy type of player, right? 16 and a half sacks as a rookie. One defensive rookie of the year, which I made the Pro Bowl, which I thought that Gamble would have won defensive rookie of the year, but yeah, it ended up being Jamarcus Ware. But this would have been a very interesting linebacking core to go into another season with, man. I ended up having under pressure on him as well. No strip specialist. But yeah, under pressure, strip specialist, whatever. By mid-season of the next year, if we would have kept going, definitely would have got him to an 85 overall, and he would have had pass committed as well. That would have been a very interesting linebacker room, man. Like, not gonna lie, bro. That would have been a very interesting linebacker room. Because I think I would have put Lurker on this guy. Yeah. Can I get it now? No, I can't. 85 overall pass coverage linebacker. So by mid-season, he would have been there as well. After actually first couple games of the season, he would have been there. So he would have had mid-zone KO and Lurker. That would have been a fire ass combo, man. That would have been a fire ass combo. So having under pressure and pass committed here, having mid zone KO and Lurker here, strip specialists and pass committed here. Like, what? That combo? Like, yeah, go ahead. Good luck passing the ball on this team, unless you got two superstar dev tackles, because we coming for that ass, man. The only thing we would have definitely needed to add here, and I would have been okay trading away Gamble maybe, was to get inside stuff here at defensive tackle. If we couldn't get it in free agency, we would have definitely made a trade to get inside stuff for our defense. Because I think that's really what the key is to Madden, bro. Like if you can scheme your way to stop outside runs and have inside runs taken away with inside stuff, like people can't run the ball on you, so now they got to pass. And then you got these two edge rushers here that like they're going off, bro. I don't think there's a single O-line in the league that can handle that pass rush right there. Those two, which is essentially why the Chargers are going to be so OD in Madden 23. Another guy that we're going to go over, man, Pete Hyde. I really should have saved Owe and them for last, but man, Pete Hyde, another guy that drafted pretty decent second round pick. I actually I felt like I reached on him after I picked him because of his attributes. They just weren't that high, but he ended up getting 2 touchdowns as a rookie, 7.5 sacks, 17 TFLs, basically playing 5 technique for me in the 3-4 defense. And just looking at his build, 6'4", 271, Drafted at 22 years old, 82 speed, 85 excel, 83 strength is pretty decent. 84 agility is also pretty good. 90 plus power move, very very good. Impact block is kind of low at 78. Stamina is terrible at 73. But he played well, man. I called him Mr. Big Arms because look how fucking big his arms is compared to his body. It's just kind of crazy. But yeah, man. Pete Hyde, Dr. Jackal, Mr. Hyde, second round pick, big time player, man. Personally, I think that was one of the. Is it really worth a second round pick? I mean, it's arguable. He's a star dev, 81 overall player in his second year, so moving into year three would have been, getting up to that 87, 88 ish. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good build, man. Other than that, bro, like the DBs, nothing really to scoff at, man. Nothing really to write home about. Brandon Stevens was as high as a star dev, but been normal dev most of his career with me. 92 speed, 80 plus zone and man. His pursuit has always been terrible, and I don't like. I guess when I built him up as a hybrid, I never upgraded run support, so he never got fucking pursuit upgrades. But he was a really good user. First couple seasons, I definitely used him as a sub linebacker. 6 interceptions, 6, 8, and I think yeah, this is the year I moved him back to free safety. And this is where he's been. So nothing too crazy, man. This down year, man, this is horrible. Only 2 pass deflections and 4 interceptions. He only impacted 6 passes in an entire season. That's pretty tough. That's pretty rough, man. But 18 PBUs is a sophomore here. It's a pretty good season, pretty good career for a defensive back, in my opinion. In real life, these are great numbers and Pro Bowl numbers. But in Madden, that's just definitely not enough to make the Pro Bowl. Definitely not enough to keep fucking star devs either. So, now Devin McCourty definitely did not start for me. It was KK Kelvin Keenan, 6'2" safety out of Buffalo, 88 speed, nothing too crazy, but he has the 80 hit power, high motor, aggressive play ball trait, and he's 6'2". So I had big hopes for him. He made a few plays, but nothing too crazy. 5 interceptions as a rookie, 4 in this next 2 years. This is his first full year as a starter, I believe. Only 1 pass deflection. This is what I mean, man. That's tough. 2 touchdowns though, 3 touchdowns a year before. Man, I don't know what to tell you, dog. Like that's pretty tough to only have 1 pass deflection as a safety. There's nothing like that that Bears defensive backfield we got. Marlon Humphrey still here, still kicking. Acrobat and deep route KO, I believe. Yeah. Much better in the slot than on the outside. But at 81 tackle, that's kind of crazy. 78 hit power. He'd be a prime candidate to transition into free safety at the later half of his career. At 32, 33 years old, to get this guy to come in and play safety for you would be pretty dope. Because he has the tackle, he has the pursuit, he has the hit power and stuff like that. So, yeah. So whenever he diminishes as an athlete, just move him back to safety, man. Let 44 roam. And as you can see here, pretty consistent player for me. All 5 seasons, over 10 interceptions. Got a ton of sacks as well, 3, 2, 2. Now, in my humble opinion, I feel like Humphrey should have been one of those players that came with strip specialists as his superstar ability, and I would have definitely kept it because I've always ran him as the nickel, and that's like as you can see right here in real life, the 2020 season he forced 8 fumbles, man. The peanut punch was real. He had 2 sacks as well, so I used him in that role. I sent him on blitzes, great tackler out of the nickel spot. Obviously, getting 10 interceptions is always a bonus. 11 pass deflections and 10 here, and never sniff 10 again. That's tough. But yeah, man, Marlon Humphrey is my guy, man. I met him a couple times in real life, and he's a pretty cool dude. He's a real down to earth guy, man. I love his podcast that he does as well. Studio 44. So shout out to that. If you're still watching this video. Hopefully, Marlon sees it one day, but if he doesn't, it's all good. Defensively as well, Jerry Barrington, 6'3", 200-pound corner, 90 speed. Still gets beat like a rag doll in this game because he has conservative play ball trait. Man, it's terrible. I don't think this guy's ever went over 5 interceptions. Yep, there you go. Doesn't have a total of 5 interceptions in 2 years. Doesn't have a ton of pass deflections either. Like, he just not that good of a player. And maybe I was using him wrong, or maybe I wasn't calling the same defenses that I do with the Bears. But here you go. Here's the guy who was drafted a year before him, and was not lifted up to the starting role, but he should have been. He got 5 picks. 5 picks this year, 18 pass deflections, man, and a touchdown. This is the epitome of, like, these are storyline guys, man. Like I'm saying, 7th-round pick, didn't start his first 2 years, barely played special teams, and then to come in your 3rd year and play right side corner and come up with 18 pass deflections and 5 picks, it's pretty damn good, man. It's pretty damn good. 93 speed, aggressive play ball trait. Doesn't have high motor, but it is what it is. 6'1", yeah, 6'1" corner. A little slender at 181, but man, made plays, man. 18 pass deflections, bro. And this like, I feel like the right side corner gets the most action, so I put my best athlete there. Now Jerry Barrington plays left side corner, which is essentially the boundary corner. So, you know what I mean? For the most part, it's a boundary corner because everything goes to the left in Madden for whatever reason. If it goes to the right, it's a PA crosser. So, this is who was basically playing that side of the field, man. Didn't do it too good either. So, but you know, that was one of my. I think he was a 1st-round draft pick, man. I want to say he was a 1st-round pick, and it's a bit of a bust. Yeah, there you go. 28th overall pick. That's what we get for losing in the AFC Championship game. Was that corner? That's very unfortunate. But yeah, man. I think that's pretty much. We went over everybody here. Everybody that's of note, anyways. But we're forgetting this guy here. I wanted to move him to safety, but it wasn't allowed in this league to move corners to safety. Because of the cheese that can come along with that. I get it. But this guy was a prime example of a corner that should play safety in this league. You know what I mean? So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it, but I would have loved to get him there. I think he would have made plays for me there. I played him as a safety for a season or two. But, you know, essentially he had the highest pursuit in my defensive backfield. Let me see if I don't think I can see it from here, but we'll get into it in a second. But there you go. Here's his stats. Only 1 interception his first 2 seasons, 0 in the 3rd season, but he didn't play much. Just really got tired of getting beat over the top. I feel like playing a corner at safety doesn't really. They're not ideal for that. Like, they have to be a safety in order for them to get those great animations, and he just wasn't. But I'll go into edit player real quick just so you can see. That he has like either 79 or 80 pursuit, which is higher than any other DB on my team besides Marlon Humphrey. In the wrong thing. Let's see here. Change of direction to 86, you know, which is less than what you would want for a corner. Good agility and acceleration, but only 89 speed. You don't really want that at corner. Change of direction, also not elite, so you'd really be relegated to the slot. Spectacular catch at 28 is terrible. Jumping at 88 is solid. It's pretty average. Impact block 54. Play rec 77. 71 tackle. Hit power is bullshit, but that's fine. And pursuit at 78. I would have loved to play this guy at safety. And 73 press, you're not pressing anybody at corner, especially not with 88 speed. So this guy would have been ideal and an ideal move to safety. But we weren't able to, so it is what it is, man. But yeah, that's the team in a whole. That's both teams in a whole. And this is my last video of Madden 22. It's a longer one, which is fine. Nobody's really going to see it except me. I'll go back and review these things from time to time. And just relish on it, man. Real quick, we'll go over Lamar's awards that he's won I want to say he's a multi-time MVP. 6 Pro Bowls. 3 league leader in passer ratings. 2019 MVP, that's the one he won on his own. 2021 best QB. 2022 MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. And best QB. Damn, that's the trifecta, bro. Like 1, 2, 3. Best QB, Offensive Player of the Year, and MVP. So he won that in 22, 23. He won MVP. 24 won the trifecta as well. 25 Offensive Player of the Year and best QB. So who the fuck won MVP? Now I gotta find out who won MVP. It probably wouldn't have been Lamar this year, but you know, we'll see. Yearly awards. Who won MVP? Well, I guess it just hasn't registered. But alright. We won MVP again. Oh man. But yeah man. If you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't, be sure to dislike it, leave some maple comments, and unsubscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm out.